Hello everyone, I'm Ventos back with the English lesson on TELE-ESKOLA. Today we are doing English grammar lesson all about preposition of place and location. In this lesson, I'm going to take you through the use and examples of prepositions and of place and location in English language. But as usual, please refer to your English textbook on Grammar Box 1, Prepositions of Place and Location, on page 97 to 98. And if you are ready, let's get started. Well, let's start by looking at the difference between both place and location. To understand the two terms, in this case, place and location, can be very confusing. When we talk about a place, it can be a building that has a definite purpose. As an example, a church is always being described as a place of worship. Or a place can also be described as a spot or area where we live that usually has indefinable margins or borders. Let's understand both place and location like this. Imagine when a person says, "Let's go to my house." In this case, the person is referring you to his or her house as the place or spot where you are invited to go. However, location can be described as a different concept from place. Because, as always the case, we tend to be more specific with the area where a certain spot or place is situated. When the person says, "Let's go to my house," we may be wondering the implied idea that we should know where the exact spot or the place, in this case the person's house, is located. So in here, we tend to figure out the location of the spot or place, in this case the person's house. Maybe by asking the person, for example, "Where is your house?" And when the person answers, "My house is next to Taibesi Market," for example, then the person is already telling us of its exact location by using a preposition of place and location, in this case next to, as shown in bold in this example sentence. So, despite of the fact that place and location are sometimes viewed as two different concepts to each other, however, such difference is not always important to be considered, given that both terms are just one of the other. But how does it possible to describe both place and location? And how can we identify a preposition of place and location? Then join me in this lesson all about preposition of place and location. Alright, I would like to continue by clearing out your doubts on what a preposition of place and location in English is. Well, in English, it's a word used to refer to a place where a certain object or a person is located, and we use it to identify the spatial relationship between nouns. Let's start by looking at these three very common prepositions of place and location: at, in, and on. At is a preposition of place and location that is used to specify the point where an object or person is located, and it is used to indicate or show an exact position of an object. For example, I would say, "The students are waiting at the school main entrance." The school main entrance is the exact position where the students are waiting. So in this sentence, the preposition of place and location, in this case at, indicates that the school main entrance is the exact location where the students are waiting. So the students are waiting at the school main entrance. We can also use at for some precise and small locations and events. For example, when with some precise and small locations, we do it this way: at plus precise and small location. They would be at the gate, at this address, at the addresses, at home, etc. And with the event, at plus event, so they would be, for example, at a party, at a wedding, at a ceremony, at a birthday party, at the Independence Day celebration, etc. Now moving on, let's look at in, a preposition of place and location that is used to describe an enclosed space. So we'll do it this way: in plus enclosed space. We use in to indicate that something, or basically a noun, is covered everywhere by something, hence inside. For example, please refer to the picture of the red ball and the blue box. The red ball is in the blue box. So the blue ball is enclosed by the blue box, hence its position is in the box. So this means that the blue ball is enclosed by the blue box, hence its position is in the box. We also use in with large location. We'll do it this way: in plus large location. And with an abstract location, the same: in plus abstract location. For example, when with large location, we would say in a market, in a hall, in a country, in a garden, in a street, in a town, etc. And when with abstract location, they would be in a photograph, in a book, in an article, etc. Alright, now let's look at on, the preposition of place and location used to indicate a position that is open and on the surface. On plus surface. And it is used when the object being described is in contact with something on the surface. For example, the red ball is on the blue box. So here we see that the position of the red ball is on the surface of the blue box, and that the two are in contact. So the blue box is the surface and the red ball is on it. And we also use on with public transport. Yeah, on plus public transport. For example, on the bus, on the train, on the plane, etc. And we use on with some of the following expressions. For example, on a list, on a map, on a farm, on an island, on a holiday, on TV, on the radio, on the internet, on the website, etc. These three common prepositions of place and location. Let's also take a look at some other prepositions that are also used to indicate a place and location in English. Alright, let's look at some of them one by one. Above, a preposition of place and location used to describe a position that is at a higher level from a particular surface. For example, let's say the plane is flying above the clouds. This means that the location of the aircraft is above the clouds, or while the plane is flying, the clouds are below the plane. Another example with above, the blue ball is above the box, etc. And we can also say that the plane is flying over the clouds, which means that the plane is moving from one side of the clouds to the other side, to the other, etc. And then below, which is the opposite of above. It is a preposition of place and location used to describe a position that is at a lower level than a referenced surface. For example, we can say the divers went 500 meters below the sea level. This means that the location of the divers is 500 meters below the sea surface. Moving on, next to. Preposition of place and location that is used to describe a position just beside the referenced object. This preposition can be used interchangeably with beside. For example, the red ball is next to the blue box. Now, in between or between. A preposition of place and location used to describe space separated by two objects. For example, the baby girl crawled in between her legs. The red ball is between the two blue boxes, etc. Alright, and now it's the word behind. It is a preposition that describes a position at the back of an object or something. For example, the rude boy was hiding behind the main house after beating his friend. So, in here, there is a barrier that is the house, and then the position is at the back. Or another example, the red ball is behind the blue box, etc. Now, it's the word under. A preposition of place and location used to indicate a surface just below another surface. For example, my mobile was under the table. So the location here is just below the surface, which in this case is the table. Now let's look at some other common prepositions of place and location: in front of, under, inside, leaning against, near, far from, around, across, beneath, etc. Say after me. The blue ball is in front of the box. The blue ball is under the box. The blue ball is inside the box. The broom is leaning against the box. The blue ball is near the box, and the red ball is far from the box. The red ball is across the blue box. The red balls are around the blue box. The red ball is among the blue boxes. The red ball is beneath the blue box. The red ball is beside the blue box. The red ball is outside the blue box. The red ball is over the blue box. The red ball is running through the blue box. The red ball is underneath the blue box, etc. Alright, I hope everything about the lesson is clear, and as usual, I would like to take you through the following 5 exercises to test your understanding, your knowledge, all about the prepositions of place and location. In the exercise, what you have to do is to choose the correct preposition to fill in the blanks, as in each exercise. If you are ready, let's get started. Alright, let's start with exercise number 1. My father called when I was school. Now, is it at school, or is it on school, or is it above school? Alright, it is at school. Great. So, my father called when I was at school. Great. Now, moving on, let's look at exercise number 2. They are swimming the river. Is it above the river? Or is it beside the river? Or in the river? Or in the river? It is in the river. Good. So, they are swimming in the river. Alright. Now it's exercise number 3. I love reading a book when I'm the bus. Now, is it on the bus, above the bus, or is it below the bus? It is on the bus, of course. Good. So, I love reading a book when I'm on the bus. Good. Now moving on, let's look at exercise number 4. The children are hiding the door. Is it above the door? Or is it below the door? Or behind the door? It is behind the door. Good. So, the children are hiding behind the door. Great. Now it's the last exercise. Exercise number 5. Don't do that. The children. Now, is it behind the children? Or is it in front of the children? Or on the children? It's in front of the children. Good. So, don't do that in front of the children. Good. Alright, you have been fantastic learners. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye.
Hei wando bensira, respeita ina naman ba, tambah siramak, pomoris neba o. Hei wando bensira, am tahu kina naman ba, tambah siramak, haki ako tobo. Hei wando bensira, respeita ina naman ba, tambah siramak, pomoris neba o. Hei wando bensira, am tahu kina naman ba, tambah siramak, haki ako tobo. Laiha kole la iha o anida selo ina naman favor amnesan ta siluan lalehan aswan ina naman ia kole sura la bele ina naman ia favor itu la bele ina naman iya kolen maromak magselu.